Hi, I'm Coral Dunbar, and I'm a fitness and wellness coach. And I am talking a lot right now about gut health and what are the most important things to know, what can we do to make sure that we have most optimal gut health. And Avery here has a really fascinating story that I wanted to bring you guys. So I'll let her introduce herself.
So I'm Avery, and I've gone through, basically as a result of poor gut health, I recently ended up with a disease, an intestinal disease, and the way I got there, I think it started when I was 2, and I had a lot of ear infections, and my parents put me on antibiotics as told by their doctors at the time, and my mom says I was on antibiotics about every month, and I ended up getting pneumonia really bad between 2 and 3, and as a result I was diagnosed with asthma, and I also did not grow at all between 2 and 3, which is a major growing year, right?
Yeah, a major growing year.
Yeah, so didn't grow at all. And then after that, I was on steroids for my asthma till high school. And I was sick a lot in high school and college. I would easily get pneumonia and bronchitis through college. And then after college, I traveled quite a bit through Central and South America. And in Central America, I acquired a bacteria called blastocystis, and that gave me some gut problems. I got really sick and was very fatigued, and I had to change my diet to basically cut out glucose, so carbs and sugar, because that would feed the bacteria. And then after cutting that stuff out, I was okay. I kind of maintained my health. And then in South America, I got giardia, and my health pretty much went downhill from there. After I got that, I got back from South America pretty sick, and met with my naturopathic doctor, and she put me on an extreme diet and herbal Chinese herbs. And then I got diagnosed with SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. And basically what that is so we have bacteria living in our small intestines, and when the population of bacteria becomes overgrown, it basically digests your food. The bacteria digest your food before it can get into your stomach and the nutrients be absorbed into the rest of your body. So because of that, I was malnourished and very fatigued, and
basically those bacteria were getting all the energy from your food and not leaving anything for you.
Yeah. So very fatigued. My symptoms also included some really bad brain fog, lack of motivation. It was almost like my life, it just kind of put my life on hold, because I wasn't motivated to do anything or socialize or,
Really lethargic.
Yeah, very lethargic. And so I went on a very specific diet.
So before we get into the diet, can we back up a little bit to when you were a kid? Because not everyone knows how antibiotics affects gut health.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, starting from 2 on, what do you think really affected your gut health the most during that time?
Well, I think being on so many antibiotics as a child, when your immune system's developing, it just wiped out all the bacteria that I got from my mother, that I got from my environment, that I got from the food I was eating, just got wiped out, and I pretty much, I just had a really weak immune system. And
1 round of antibiotics, A, is like an a bomb. It's like an atomic bomb to your to the bacteria in your gut, good and bad. But it's hard to really grow back that good bacteria quickly. And then also I've heard that just one round of antibiotics can alter your microbiome, which is basically all of the bacteria in your gut and how they work together. It can alter it for the rest of your life, just one round. So being on that every month as a 2-year-old really didn't set you up for good, optimal gut health.
Right.
After that.
Right. And as a result, nowadays they link asthma to poor gut health. And after a year of being on antibiotics, I was diagnosed with asthma. And, that may or may not be why I'm 8 inches shorter than everyone else in my family. But also, I just had a really weak immune system growing up.
So you also were on antibiotics in elementary, middle, and high school?
Yeah, I mean, just like everyone else, you get a virus and you go on antibiotics. It was pretty regular, maybe once a year or twice a year or something like that. And especially since I was getting sick a lot, I mean, it could have been more frequently than other kids. But, so anyway, I think I'm an extreme case of poor gut health, especially at my age of getting an intestinal disease. I think the bacteria that I acquired in Guatemala and then the Giardia I acquired a year later in Peru just really disrupted everything, which can lead to SIBO. So SIBO, they're saying, one of the causes is a disruption in the homeostasis of the bacteria in your large intestine, and that can either cause them to migrate up into your small intestine. So we have billions of bacteria in our large intestine, and we only have a very small variety in our small intestine. So when that population becomes overgrown, then it leads to a whole slew of issues. So that's what I ended up with, and it's been a long healing journey. I decided to not take antibiotics because I saw that as the source of my problems. And
were you recommended to take that when you were first diagnosed?
Yeah, I went to a Western medical doctor, Stanford doctor, and she said, take antibiotics. And I said, is there any alternative? She said, no. And so I met with a naturopath, and she was like, do not take antibiotics. And
it may help temporarily, but in the long run.
Yeah, and then I ended up doing a lot of my own research. And what I found was, I spent hours reading other people who had SIBO and their stories about taking antibiotics or not taking antibiotics. And I read scientific journals that documented how well antibiotics work versus an herbal antibiotic, something more natural and easier on your system that doesn't wipe all the bacteria out. And they pretty much came out with the same results. Antibiotics oftentimes coming back even worse because you've wiped everything out.
The SIBO coming back worse?
Yeah, the SIBO or the bacteria coming back even stronger, like superbugs, how they're antibiotic resistant, and they can come back even stronger and resistant to the antibiotics you're taking. So I decided to stop putting antibiotics in my body and, use that as last resort. Like if I'm really sick and, dying or something, I'll try antibiotics if that's what it's going to take. But I wanted to, take a more natural route that would actually heal my gut. And I really felt that in the long run, I'll be better off. I'll have a stronger immune system. I'll repopulate my gut bacteria and, just be better for it. So that was, I think, a year and a half ago that I was diagnosed. And
what are some of the more natural herbal antibiotics that you took or were recommended? Or is it like mixtures of things?
Yeah, I took lots of different things from my naturopath. I don't remember the names of them, but they are a bunch of herbs, you know, in a tincture form or pill form, you know, powdered pill form. So, yeah. So
when you realized you had SIBO, what, besides the lethargy and all that, like, what were your main symptoms that you, well, that was probably one of your main symptoms, but what were some other symptoms that you really were like, I need to address, I need to change my diet, like, right now?
Before I changed my diet and got onto a SIBO health regime, I was having, the lethargy, just extreme exhaustion, brain fog, like not really being able to think very clearly, constipation. I was having a lot of gas because I wasn't digesting my food very well, and you know, and I was eating, before I went on the SIBO diet, I was eating like the healthiest. I thought the healthiest I'd ever been in my life, like eating just fruits and vegetables all day, every meal, and
vegetarian, was it vegan diet
pescatarian, like I think I was eating some eggs, and I mean, just really healthy, but and it is healthy, it's just because my gut was so messed up, I couldn't even digest those foods, which is why
other things were digesting them and stuff.
Yeah, the bacteria were digesting them, and so once I was diagnosed, I immediately went on the specific carbohydrate diet, which is, you know, was developed to treat SIBO. And I basically started eating baby food that I made. I couldn't buy baby food, I had to make it, and I was eating only 5 foods: carrots, zucchini, squash, pear, and apple. And I ate that for a month in puree baby food form.
Were you doing broth at that point too?
I was making a vegetable broth. I had been vegetarian, so I was trying to maintain that, and so I was doing vegetable broth. And it wasn't until a month later where I really was like, I need variety, and meat was one of the things that I could eat because it's easier to digest. So I decided, okay, I'm just gonna eat meat because I'm desperate for variety, and I actually saw a lot of improvement once I started eating chicken.
What kind of, so it was broth or like actual chicken?
I was eating chicken and fish, and when I would make the chicken, then I would make broth out of its bones, and that's when, that really helped.
That was one of the biggest game-changing things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that before.
And just, I was happier because I was getting more nutrients.
You felt more nourished.
Yeah, felt more nourished. I felt more satiated than just eating like vegetables and squash.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, the baby food, and then it was basically a total elimination diet. I started adding in one new food at a time, and I really had to learn to listen to my body and watch the reactions that would happen. And I would add in one new food over 3 days, and by the end of 3 days I'd decide, okay, I can eat that, my body can handle this, or I can't, and I'd just take it out, or could continue eating it. So I did that for about 7 months, adding in one new food at a time, and
made you really appreciate each new food, I'm sure.
Yeah, I really did get to learn the flavor profile of every single food that I was eating.
Yeah, I bet.
And I became a much better cook too, because I couldn't eat out. I was eating all my own food.
What were some foods that you were surprised that you could tolerate, and some foods you were surprised you couldn't tolerate?
I was really surprised I couldn't tolerate mushrooms and string beans, and what was Yeah, those were two that stood out to me. Like, wow, I can't eat this, even though it was like really cooked down.
And like what's considered healthy too.
Yeah. So, yeah, it took a while, but it was amazing to see the progress of my gut healing because, 1 month I tried mushrooms and then I realized I couldn't eat it, and then a month later I'd add it back in and I had no problem with it.
So as your gut was sealing itself more, you could be more tolerant.
I really saw a lot of progress, and especially towards the end, I was being able to add in new foods all the time. And
did the brain fog disappear and the lethargy and all that disappear pretty noticeably also?
Probably it took about 6 or 7 months for that to fully go away. Mm-hmm. And that's when I knew I was really healing, like almost done healing, because I was feeling myself again. I was feeling my energy come back. I was feeling my motivation again. And that was really amazing. I really missed myself.
Yeah, totally.
Missed having all of that.
There's tons of gut-brain connections, so how you're feeling how your gut's doing is going to reflect how you're feeling in your brain, even in terms of depression, anxiety, and stuff like that as well.
Absolutely.
And physically, were things shaping up pretty well too during that time?
Yeah. You mean in terms of?
Oh, just like how your skin was, how your body felt, how your digestion and elimination was.
Yeah. Towards the end of 6 months, everything was starting to work normally again. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to kind of resume a normal life. Like I started eating out more and, having some wine here and there and just being able to enjoy food again in the way that I had before.
And what about now? What's your diet look like now?
Now I still eat according to the diet that I had been following, like basically low carb, low glucose, and that's mostly because I like the way I feel on it. I feel more energized. I do, when I feel like it, I'll have bread or pizza or whatever I want. But I do notice that when I do have that food, like it might slow me down a little bit the next day.
So basically, no grains is a part of that, or cutting down on a lot of grains.
Yeah, no, I can eat rice, brown rice, no problem. Surprisingly, quinoa doesn't work for me. So the elimination diet taught me a lot about what my body likes and doesn't like in general. Like I found out I'm allergic to tomato, and I found out that quinoa is really hard for me to digest, and that's just because that's just how my body is. And so that's the cool thing about the elimination diet is you really learn what foods work and don't work for your body.
Yeah, definitely. You also had mentioned that you felt a little bit of a regression in your SIBO due to stress. So
yeah.
How affected do you think stress is to the health of our gut?
Yeah, so last fall I had a few months of a lot of stress, and towards the end of those few months I'd have one day every 2 or 3 weeks of feeling like how I had felt when I had SIBO. And so I knew that maybe I was relapsing. And the stress came at a time when I was still sealing my gut lining. I was at the end of it, and I think becoming a little bit too, too free about what I was eating. And I was kind of just done with the healing process. I wanted to be done with it. And I was feeling normal, so I kind of just stopped, and then had stress on top of that. So my gut didn't fully seal itself, and I did have a minor relapse. I mean, minor relapse that I'm working through right now. But I feel normal. I feel myself. It's just about bringing those bacteria levels completely to normal. So one thing I would like to note is that in 2015, when I first was diagnosed and was doing the strict SIBO diet and the Chinese medicine, that only 3 months after my original diagnosis, my second testing for SIBO came out clear. So the diet and the herbal, and the herbal antibiotics worked for me completely. The second part of that, which I realized is very important, is then the sealing and rehabilitation fully of the gut, because basically what happens is when your gut lining is damaged, there's little microvilli in your gut. They're little like hairs basically that do the digesting and absorbing of nutrients, and those were damaged. Like they can be completely severed from SIBO. So it takes a long time for those to grow back naturally, and that was where I didn't follow through completely with, and is why the relapse happened.
Mm-hmm. Antibiotics can also sever those, kind of scrape that lining.
Mm-hmm.
And also people that have gluten allergies, those are like flattened a lot of times because gluten is such an inflammation.
Yeah.
Causes inflammation.
Yeah.
So, so going forward, what do you see your gut health looking like in the future, and what can people do, for themselves to really prioritize gut health?
Well, in the last year and a half, since I've been healing my gut lining, I feel better than before, and I get sick a lot less than I used to. I used to get sick a lot, just colds and bronchitis and things like that. So I know that I'm on the right path. I know that I'm healing myself for the long term. And what I think is really important for everyone to do is to just have regular practice of taking care of their gut health. And I really see it as preventative medicine, as preventing your future self from suffering from some kind of disease, because they're linking so much these days to so many chronic diseases are linked to poor gut health. Obesity, Crohn's disease, diabetes, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. They're linking all of these to poor gut health.
Absolutely.
So, just your future self will thank you if you really take care of your gut lining and be conscious about what you're putting in your body, and listen to your body, and listen that if it doesn't like something, then you probably shouldn't be eating it. And if something's making you have irregular bowel movements, then you probably shouldn't be eating it.
Mm-hmm.
And because constipation is really bad for you.
Toxic.
Yeah, it's toxic. You just want things to have like a natural flow to it. So I think the most important thing for everyone to do is those preventative, regular practices of taking care of your gut health.
Yeah. And this whole experience with you has kind of inspired you to take your career in a direction to help other people with this.
Absolutely, yeah. Will soon be getting my master's in nutrition, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
Cool. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about in the interview today?
I feel pretty good about it.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And we'll
Thank
talk
you.
to you later.